this particular data, we do have year, we do have segment, and we do have ringgit Malaysia. Okay, so if maybe I'll just put here currency because we do have students from India. So I'm just going to put here currency. Okay, so we have the year, we have the segment, and we have the currency. Okay, all right. So what the next thing I'm going to do is, like what I told you, I go to data. The first step is I go to data, and the second step is I go to get and transform data. All right. So if you have a pen and paper, you can jot this down. So first step is you can click the data. That is the first step. And the second step is you go to get and transform data. All right. First step is you click the data. Second step is you go to get and transform data. And then the third step is you go to from table / range. Okay. So you go to from table / range. That means you put your cursor over here. It depends if you want to highlight as well. So the first step is you click data. The second step is you go to get and transform data. And then the third step is you click from table / range. Okay, so if you can see from table / range, maybe you can type number 4 in the chat box. Okay, so if you can see the icon from table / range, maybe you can type number 4 in the chat box. Okay, so once you click from table range, you will notice that a window will pop out. Okay, so can you see this window? If you can see this window, maybe you can type number 5 in the chat box. Okay, so if you can see the window over here, maybe you can type number 5 in the chat box. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click OK. And then once I click OK, you will notice that you will be navigated to a Power Query editor. All right, as you can see over here, this thing called as Power Query editor. All right, so you will be navigated to Power Query editor. So with Power Query editor, what you can do? You can massage the data. What do I mean massage the data? For example, over here, I click the segment. Okay, if you notice, there's a column called segment. And in the segment, we have broadcasting, we have price, we have ticket attendance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to massage this data. That means I'm going to transform here. Can you see the transform ribbon? If you can see the transform ribbon, maybe you can type number 6 in the chat box. Okay, so once I go to transform ribbon, can you see the icon called pivot column? If you can see pivot column, maybe you can type number 7 in the chat box. All right, so once you click pivot column, of course, another window will appear. Okay, now when I click the pivot column, all right, so a window will appear over here. Okay, so this window will ask me where I'm going to put. So I'm going to put it on the currency. So the volume column will be currency because this is the value that I want to find. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press OK. So the moment I press OK, can you notice there are some difference? If you notice some difference, maybe you can type number 8 in the chat box. Okay, kepada kawan-kawan saya kat Malaysia, maybe you can type nombor 8. Okay, number 8 means 8 in Malay language. All right, so if you notice, initially, the data is in this format. Okay, data is in this format. That means we have year, we have segment, we have currency. But now, when I click pivot column, of course, the window will appear, one box will appear. I just click the box, I go to currency, and then I press OK. So now you notice that it is now in a different format, whereby the years appear in the rows and the broadcasting, price, ticket attendance appears in the column format. Okay, so if you notice, do you notice some difference? If you notice some difference, maybe you can type number 9. All right, so of course, this is something new for you, Power Query. That's like what I told you, Power Query is something that you can massage the data. You can change the template, you can change the format and so on. And of course, don't get confused. Why suddenly there's null over here? Normally, if there is no data, okay, if there is no data, then it will show null here. I just go to replace and I put here null and I put here 0 and then I click OK. So now you notice it has changed from null to 0. So before I proceed, did you learn something new, my friends? If you learn something new, maybe you can type number 1 in the chat box. Okay, so basically this is Power Query where you can massage the data, you can actually arrange the data, and then now when I press go to home and then I close and load, so it will load accordingly. Okay, So now this is what the data looks like. So initially, this data is presented in year, segment, currency. But now you can put it in a way whereby you can put the broadcasting, price, ticket attendance appear in a column format.